Folks, this is the road to release. We're counting down the days, the hours, the minutes, the seconds until Out of the Park 26 launch day, which is fast arriving. And right now, don't forget, you can pre-order 10% off that pre-order. And you get all the bonuses too. This is for Perfect Team, your bonus packs for gold, diamond packs, and a choice pack as well. And our choice as far as interviews today, well, in our choice pack, we get Nico. He's the official title, Director of Perfect Team Product Management. Nico, thanks for coming in. Can you first explain what that title means and what you do for Out of the Park?
Oh, thanks. Thanks for having me, Dr. D. It's good to be with another doctor. You have Dr. K, we've got Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Dynastic. So
A distant third, by the way, is Dr. D behind those two.
my job is lots of fun. I enjoy my job very much because I get to play with the tournament and perfect draft ecosystems of perfect team. I can help create sort of like these fun environments for people to play in and try making sure they're using different cards. With perfect team, I have obviously a lot of other responsibilities, but with perfect team, since you're opening up card packs and you're building teams with these cards, there's different ways to cut the deck. And there's so many cards. We have thousands of cards as the game goes on, but we want to make sure you're using as much as you can, you don't have cards that are necessarily just like going to waste, right? So we try to create a tournament environment where you're using as many cards as you possibly, varying levels, caps, low levels. With perfect drafts, as we go, we can definitely cut things up in very different ways. Utilizing live cards or historical cards. Going into eras. So there's a lot of different ways to cut the deck to make it more interesting. Reviving old cards from early in the cycle or taking advantage of those new ones. So there's different ways to kind of play with things that I really enjoy doing, and the community enjoys like what are we going to come up with next. And then there's obviously a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. I'm one of the people who helps make sure the game is going and is working properly, helping with tech support issues, helping with various things in the community as far as communication, talking to people, understanding what their feedback is, and getting that back to the team. Working with the team to make sure we're on schedule to get things delivered. So there's a lot going on, and also trying to come up with my own ideas and try to see if those are worth implementing within the game. So my fingerprints are kind of everywhere on it, and also working with Paul Sporer on the content. It's like I feel like I'm in every aspect of things when it comes to Perfect Team, and I love it every single day. I start up my computer and I can't wait to see what it is I want to try to experiment with and come up with. And I've utilized pop-up tournaments to come up with new ideas and new formats, and then when people really like them, throw them in there. Let's get them in the mix on a daily or weekly basis. So I just really enjoy it, and we have such a great team and people who are really dedicated and committed, that it really makes it fun to wake up every day and get to work.
Well, this has been an awesome addition to Out of the Park, the franchise, because for those of you who have been playing for a long time, it would be almost unrecognizable from day one, from the original Out of the Park to now, as far as this element. Some people, when they play the base game, as it were, if you're trying to revive the 1927 Yankees and see if they truly are the best team of all time, or you're just trying to take the Mariners to the playoffs, end that drought, win a World Series, whatever it may be, then they click on Perfect Team, and a whole new world opens up. Now, for those of you who are now with us who have been playing Perfect Team for the last few years, we've got exciting changes, additions, and we're going to get through that with Nico today. Let's lead off, and we got some pictures to tell the story first. There is going to be some changes this year, specifically to tournaments and to Perfect Draft. Let's talk about the basics here, what people want to know going into Out of the Park 26.
So a simple change, the slots are going to remain the same for the most part. However, we're adding a quick Perfect Draft slot to get people in there, let them utilize those quick tournaments, get some packs that way, get them experiencing it. Be a great way for new players, like you mentioned, to get used to playing that Perfect Draft mechanic, get to know the deck a little bit as well. So we thought that would be a nice way to kind of add a little bit of a change that's not overwhelming and kind of can help some new players along the way. But from there's going to be some major changes coming. And that's what we're going to see on the PTCS side. as far as the competitive structure. One of the things about when I first got this job, Dr. D, we had a different type of structure. Tournaments existed, but they didn't exist in a competitive landscape. They were more of just kind of there in addition to the league. And PTCSs were a sign up only event. So, when we would announce it, there would be a bunch of different tournaments. This is even before I think even we had Perfect Draft. A bunch of different formats. People could sign up. You can only sign up for one. And once we had a field of 128 teams, then it was closed. So instead of going to that sign up structure, I wanted to have more of a competitive qualifying structure, like you'd see in other games or other sports. So I wanted to come up with something that was more engaging and led to more prizes and gave it a sense of sort of engagement for the players. So they're having more fun. My whole thing is I want people to have fun playing this game. And how much more fun is it to take all of those fun features and wrap them in together and make it a competitive environment? So this year we're changing up the PTCS, we're changing up the leaderboards. It's going to look like this now. We're going to have iron and bronze together in one. There's going to be 6 PTCSs. Iron and bronze will be in one. So there's one leaderboard for iron and bronze together. So if you were an iron player, well, you're going to be in now with the bronze. But keep in mind, there's going to be plenty of opportunities to get into those tournaments. Silver and gold will be together. Diamond and open will be together. We'll still have the weekly tournaments, which will be its own category. The daily perfect drafts, again, they'll be in their own category, and the weekly drafts will be in their own category. Now, in addition to that, we will have 2 other leaderboards. They won't lead to PTCSs, but we think this will be a nice way to kind of get people involved and get people coming back to play more. And because there'll be weekly payouts for this. So any live tournament or perfect draft will have their own leaderboard. So all the lives fall into one bucket, and every Monday there'll be prizes given out to the top teams, and we'll also have a cap leaderboard as well. So any cap tournament that is a daily or a weekly will go into this leaderboard, and again, there'll be payouts that way. They won't lead to a PTCS, but we wanted to have this in here as like a secondary leaderboard to give people a chance to kind of experiment, because we know with cap tournaments they can be very intimidating. So we're giving a little more incentive. Get yourself in there, and you can find your way into I believe the top 20, and you'll find your way into getting some weekly payouts. So we're looking at top 20 places will get prizes, and that's going to be a big difference. That's an expansion from the top 10, which is what we've done every year prior.
And again, more fun, more involvement, more engagement. That's what this mission is all about. Can we break down the leaderboard standings? You can actually share with us right now how that points distribution is going to be working for those leaderboards.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is, again, another change. So previously, what we would do is we would have 1 point structure for daily tournaments and daily perfect drafts, and a different point structure for weeklies. We're changing that up, and the point structure will be based on how many teams are in that particular tournament. So if you have a 64 team daily, the point structure there, you'll have 25 points for first place. But if you're in a 32 team daily, there'll only be 20 points for first place. So they'll be just changing the structures. Where this will be felt is in the 128 and 256. So 128 teams, it was the same point structure with 128 teams as it was for 256. And that's so you had to win 2 rounds in a 216 tournament. You had to win 2 rounds to get a point for the PTCS standings. Well, we changed that. So we've adjusted it. So you only have to win 1 round to get a point. So this way, it keeps things flowing a little bit better. It's adjusted the sort of the priorities of those tournaments. So if you're in those, you get something. You don't have to win 2 rounds to get the same equivalent of 128 teams. So we think that's going to be a positive change for everybody, and we think this is really going to get some people into some of these larger tournaments, especially on the perfect draft side as well.
Can we touch on real quick? Pardon the pun. Quicks.
So quicks. Okay, this is this has been quite the topic for a long time, is quick tournaments and how they have been in the game. Now, this has taken the decisions we've made have a lot to do with the feedback we've gotten from the community. This has been just massive when it comes to listening to what people want, how they want the game to play, how they want to experience quick tournaments. Because quick tournaments, I liken it to waiting for a bus. One goes off and then another one comes with the same format, comes right behind it, and you can join. If you missed one, you got that one coming next. So what we're going to do is create a standard set of quick tournaments that are best of 5, 16 teams, and they'll be at each tier. So there'll be an open, there'll be a diamond, there'll be a low diamond, and the rest of the levels will be, gold, silver, bronze, and iron, down the line. So they'll be uniform. Now, the open one's just going to be open, right? So let everyone who's got your great cards go ahead and go nuts. But with the others, we're going to have a variant cap of 10 in each one. So that will just provide a little bit more of a simple structure for all of them. We're going to start with 10 on the variant cap, and we'll see how that goes from there. We can always make adjustments. I'm always turning the dials, pulling the levers where I need to kind of keep things interesting for everybody. But what it'll do is it'll give a simple structure that everyone can join, as well as keeping it as a best of 5. So you have a little bit of time invested into it. And it allows for new players to come in, test things out, get a feel of the game, and allows for older veteran players to go in, test things out, utilize their data, and try to see what they think, how they think everything is playing along. So we think that sort of structure, and there'll be a couple other quicks in the mix as well to add some fun. But I think what we got before from the feedback was that things were a little bit sort of all over the place. We had different formats. We had some different structures as far as how the tournaments were. Were they best of 3, best of 5, best of 7? So we wanted to sort of have a little bit more structure to it, and then we'll kind of build off of it from.
Nico, you let slip a little bit. You mentioned the word variant. So there are no combinators in Out of the Park 26. Right. There are variants. Can you explain what that is, how it's different, and what the rationale behind having these cards is?
Combinators are out, variants are in, right? As we know from legendary television shows. What we really like the idea of upgradable cards, of cards that help to change roster building and to create this roster diversity. One of the things that I've told this story so many times. I don't know if everyone in the community has ever heard this, but one of the things when I got this job, Rich Grisham said to me, he's like, I watch our Perfect League World Series on Sundays, and the teams are identical. It's the identical lineup. It's the identical pitching staff. He's like, we have to do something here. It can't just be the same thing. It has to have something, has to be different. He was like, your job is to fix it. Now,
good luck.
Yeah. Now we were able to, as we've gone, we've deepened the pool of cards, especially at the top levels. We've created a much more robust roster building. And when combinators came in, it created a whole different look to it. So we've taken that idea, we've taken a lot of feedback from the community, what they liked and didn't like about them, and we wanted to create something new that was similar but not quite. So with variant, in keeping with trading card parlance, we wanted to use variant as the word here, as a phrase here. And what we wanted to do is continue with the upgradable mechanic, make it a little more simpler, and maybe at the lower levels, it's not going to be as strong. You'll be able to upgrade them, but they're not going to be as overpowering. And it's going to be a little bit on the easier side to get them going. However, what we want to do is have that diversity of the roster build. That creates more strategies. Another thing I wanted to have in this job was put a lot of the responsibility for roster building in the user's hands. Let them make choices. It's a baseball game, right? Let's make people be managers. Let's make them choose what they have to do and change the strategies up. Because if it's the same strategy across the board, I don't know how much fun that's going to be. Let's make it some fun. Let people make some decisions. And I think with variants, it'll allow people to do that. One of the big things that's going to happen with variants as well. And I know you're going to be talking to a few other members of the team, but one of the big things is variance will have its own, not a card shop, its own auction house. That auction house is going to allow for us, it's similar to the old auction house that we used to have in Perfect Team. So every card individually will be up for sale. If someone puts it up for sale, there'll be individual auctions for each card. You can sell them at their upgraded level. So the prices will vary as far as how that's all gonna, how cards will look, because you may sell a level 2 variant and someone will get that level 2 variant. It won't reset like the combinators did. And those auctions will also have to be up for 48 hours. So this way, it allows a lot of people to get a chance to go and look at the variant auction house and see if it's something they want to bid on. So that, we think, will keep things very interesting and keep it competitive, and be very interesting to see how people approach that from a strategy perspective, to get the variants they feel they need to improve their teams.
We're here with Nico right now, Director of Perfect Team Product Management. We're talking Road to Release right now. Don't forget, you can click that link in the description here on our Road to Release. 10% off on your pre-order. And when you get in on the pre-order, you also get bonus packs for your Perfect Team, a gold pack, a diamond pack, and a choice pack. Nico, let's touch on prizes right now. Specifically, we're talking about something I really like. We love the baseball hats with the stars, right? Or if you're a college football fan, you get the stickers on the helmet. And we're talking about the stars in the Clubhouse shop. Can you walk us through that? What exactly is that?
What is it? What is the Clubhouse shop? What are Clubhouse stars? Here we go. All right, let's start here. Tournament batches, they're out. Clubhouse stars, they're in. Why? Because there's a new marketplace. This marketplace is going to change the look and feel of how people approach Perfect Team across the board. Okay, so there'll be some tournaments that will have Clubhouse stars as prizes. Think of, I always thought of them as the Stargell stars, right? Dr. D, the Pittsburgh Pirates with all the stars they put on their hats, and I think they're going to be wearing one of them this year, a hat that has those stars on them. What this will do, it's a second currency that at the time when we start, this will be in the competitive landscape as far as prizes are concerned. There may be other ways to get them down the road, but right now this is where they're going to be. You're going to find them as prizes in tournaments. You're going to find prizes in perfect drafts and prizes in league play. We'll get to that a little later on. So once you get those stars, you can decide what you want to do with them. Do you want to accumulate them? Is there something in the Clubhouse shop which will have exclusive cards available there? They'll also have batches of packs, and we can do more with them on a versatility. It makes us more versatile with the Clubhouse shop than it ever did with the tournament batches. So we can put a bunch of cards in there, and people can then go and purchase them with their Clubhouse stars. If they want to sell them off in the in the card shop, they can. We can do a lot of things there. We can say this card is only available in the Clubhouse shop, and it's a variant. So we can do a lot of different things here, and so we really like the idea. But the best thing about it is people will be able to accumulate their stars. So if you finish 8th in a few tournaments and you've started to gather up some stars, you can then gather them up and go get that perfect card that you've been eyeing in the Clubhouse shop, as opposed to taking your silver tournament batch choice pack and picking from an array of 6 cards. So again, it gives the player more decisions to make, and it creates a little more strategy to how they want to build their team. And there's going to be cards of varying levels. So if you see a card in there that could help you in diamond tournaments or gold tournaments, they'll be in there as a way to go get them. And again, the big key being this Clubhouse shop is open not just to tournament players, it's open with league play as well. So you're going to be able to get stuff from league play and have prizes and success there that you can add it to your tournament success and go and take advantage of that Clubhouse shop and get some cards that'll help you along, or get some packs that you think will help you move along.
Gosh, we still got so many bases to cover here, Nico. This is just absolutely wild that this year I can't recall a year where we've seen so many changes and additions. And I think what we're seeing
what, Dr. D? These changes, these are things that we've been wanting to do for a while. and it's been time, it's been hard work by the development team. We've really wanted to go in this direction to kind of just continue to open this up and just make it even more enjoyable for people. And that's where I'm really excited. I cannot wait for March 14th for everything to go live and watch this all in action and take part in it as well.
Well, this is wild because think about Out of the Park 25. And so going out with a bang, you have what's known as PTWC, Perfect Team World Championship. And all the lead up, the actual result from it really prompts you now. I mean, it was like gangbusters. And now you're like, people can't get enough of it. And this prompts you to go like, wait a minute, we might be onto something for 26. So let's talk about that. Let's dive into PTCS, PTMS, PTWC, what people can expect. Because if you loved last year, Out of the Park 25, boy, it was a home run last year. This year, it's going to be a grand slam.
So we're going to continue to have obviously the PTCS once a month. So there'll be 11 of them throughout the year. We are going to change from 5 to 4 PTMSs because we are going to have 2 PTWCs, and they'll be you'll go by a calendar. So from August, they'll be those, the first PTWC will be in August. So tournaments and points and league points, everything will accumulate up to that a certain point early August, and then we'll have our field set after the second PTMS, and then we'll go with your 2-day weekend event that we just had with PT25. We will do the same thing in February with a second, because everything will reset, and we'll do it again, and we'll have a second PTWC. I'm really excited for that because the multi-day event is something I've really wanted to do for a few years, sort of like a decathlon type of thing to kind of show. Let's throw a couple perfect drafts in there, a couple tournaments in there, and let people just like show their strengths. I think one of the things I came away with the PT25 PTWC was simply we had 4 different competitions. There were 4 different winners.
Is that
That to
wild?
me showed, it wasn't someone dominating all of them. There were 4 different people who won, and ultimately we crowned a winner. But it was such a fun event to be able to do that, and we were like, let's do it twice. Why not twice?
We'll do it
So
again.
and obviously allows the carry into the next game. So if you did well in the PTWC and PT25, there's some PT26 packs coming your way when you start. So there's a lot of changes coming there, and I think that stuff will keep things very interesting. I think also resetting and going into a second PTWC period will keep people engaged and keep people having fun, knowing that there's going to be a second shot at that multi-day event. And also along with that, the periods for the PTCSs, this is going to look different too, because every week we're going to do our payouts, right? We're going to, by the way, Clubhouse stars, every week the top 20 in the standings are going to be getting Clubhouse stars. So that's another way to get those. Well, also because we're eliminating seeding from the PTCSs, we will not have seeding. That is out. What's in is it's going to be a randomized system that you'll know your opponent when the tournament is created on that Saturday. But in eliminating seeding, we're bringing in period payouts for the PTCS periods. So at the end of the PTCS 1 period, we will have a leaderboard, and the top, Dr. D, the top 50 teams will get prizes for where they were in their respective standings. So the top 128 will qualify, but the top 50 are going to walk away with Clubhouse stars as their prizes.
Isn't that a nice consolation prize, right? I mean, it's not Oprah Winfrey. Everybody gets a car. But if you're in the top 50, you're walking away with a prize. You're walking away with something to show for it. Nico, so many of the things we've talked about through this road to release with you has been, tournament play and PTCS, and all of those are kind of intertwined. The reality is most people, when they dive into Perfect Team or from the start, they're playing in some form of league play. And that brings us to our next part of our show is revamped league play this year with some new levels and also what we're going to call super promotion. Let's dive into it. What do we got?
Okay. Another thing we've been wanting to do. We've heard from the community that league play gets stale. I only have to check my team on Sunday, on Monday to get it started, and then on Sunday for the playoffs. So we want to get this a little more interesting. So we decided one of the first things we wanted to do was make it a little more uniform as far as how our leagues look compared to like our card tiers. Like we didn't have stone cards or rookie cards, so those leagues, they're out, right? In comes 10 levels. So we're going to go from 8 to 10 levels, and we're going to go from iron and then up the ladder of our card tiers: low bronze, low silver, high silver, all the way up to purple. So what that'll do is, obviously, from a perspective of branding, and consistency, it matches our card tier levels. But what will also happen is there's going to be something, Dr. D, called super promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the lower leagues and you're beating everybody up and you've racked up a lot of wins and you didn't necessarily get promoted by the playoff system, you're still going to get promoted and you're going to skip levels and you're going to end up at an appropriate level for your team. The highest that teams could go up would be to high gold. So you could go from iron and vault all the way to high gold if your team is showing that type of ability. So that will allow for some interesting roster builds, some interesting competitiveness to get people at the levels that they can compete at, so they're not just playing against teams that they're overpowering.
That's a smooth segue into our next portion here. Let's look into league play as it relates to PTWC. Qualification right. and league play is so important. Let's take a look at that bracket.
So this is another big change that's coming. Last year, so like I said, we were trying to find that balance between league play and tournament play, like how to make them somewhat closer to being equally important, right? So this is something we've been working on. Last year, we included points from league play to go into PTMS. Well, no, we're not doing that anymore. League play will only factor into the PTWC. So you will get points from where you finished at certain levels. Those will go into the PTWC leaderboard for that period's PTWC. So you league teams will not factor into the PTMS, but you will get them factored into the PTWC. But again, the PTWC factors points from a variety of places, right? You're talking about league play points, PT Live, the weekly leaderboard points, the PTCS, and the PTMS. So it's every facet of the game, every facet of Perfect Team is factored into whether you qualify or not for the PTWC. So as you can see here, winning Perfect League, it's 200 points. Winning the High Diamond League, it's 100. Low Diamond League is 50. We will go down to low gold when it comes to the PTWC points. Anything below that will not be getting points. And obviously, coming 5th through 8th in low gold, you will not get points. So you get to a certain level, you're going to find your way getting some competitive points.
All right, that brings us now to our next element here, and let's talk about more league play and specific because again, we're talking about rewards and initiatives, ways to reward people for playing the game, and so we're going to circle back now to the Clubhouse stars as it relates to league play.
Now, another thing from the community in discussing league play, there wasn't enough incentive when it came to prizes for league play. We wanted to do something that incentivized folks to be active in their league, to make their adjustments, to feel like they're getting something out of league play, not just out of tournament and perfect draft. And what we came up with was this is where the Clubhouse stars also come in. So there will be Clubhouse stars distributed for success in league play. That will go from perfect league down to low silver. So you won't have Clubhouse stars in bronze and iron. So from silver on up, you will be able to accumulate Clubhouse stars on a weekly basis, basically. We sort of tested things out with this, with the theme weeks and giving out prizes that way in PT25. But we wanted to have a much more structured system that allowed for people to players to win prizes every week. And so there's more at stake. It's not just, can I get promoted from high diamond to perfect? Now it's, can I get that 450 Clubhouse stars to move up and then get that and go get something in the Clubhouse shop that's going to help me when I get to perfectly. So that, we feel like that adds another competitive element to it and rewards people for having really good seasons in league play.
Okay, so we've been talking through this road to release about those rewards, what you get, and that's kind of a long play when you think about look, we want people involved from day one. We want people to be engaged, playing all the different facets of the game. Me as an A's fan, I've got to make a Ricky Henderson reference here. We got to lead off strong. You want to set the tone at the start of the season, or for Ricky, the start of a game. Launch weekend pop-ups. We're coming out swinging here for Out of the Park 26 as it relates to Perfect Team.
Oh yeah. I mean, we have to let's honor the launch in the best way we know how, and that's pop-ups. Everyone loves pop-ups. We're planning on having 5 pop-ups throughout the weekend. These are going to be perfect drafts. The formats will be announced as we get closer. Mostly original perfect drafts and some double perfect drafts. So very simple processes. We can't cut the deck just yet in many different ways. We'll get to that point over the course of the cycle. But as I call it, Smarch Madness, since I'm a big Simpsons fan. These will be entry fee tournaments. So 1,000 points will get you into these 256 team perfect drafts. And at stake will be obviously points from those entry fees, as well as 2 perfect packs. So you will be competing for perfect packs. That'll get you off to a great start over the weekend. And again, it'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'll have a lot of fun in getting out there, getting competitive, and keeping everything going, keeping it interesting. And let's have a fun weekend as we really get ready to ramp up for baseball. And guess what, Dr. D? I didn't even tell you this, but we are going to have more pop-ups after this, because once the real games start playing and we're watching those games from Tokyo and watch those Cubs and Dodgers play, I'm planning to already have some pop-ups ready to go. While you're watching those games, you'll be able to watch your perfect team play in some pop-ups.
I love it. Another thing to look forward to. Let's close out, because we've hit so many great topics here today. But I think there's one that for the people who love the immersion factor of this, and I know this isn't necessarily something everybody's going to get excited about. This is we're going to say just a nice bonus, and we're talking about the stadiums that are going to be featured in Perfect Team, and more than ever before. How many, Nico? Do you remember off the top of your head the original Perfect Team? How many ballparks we had back then, and then yeah.
Here you go. You want to go? Let's go back.
Okay.
From PT19 to 22,
okay,
or maybe 23 even, maybe 22, there were no ballparks.
Just a default
Everyone
stadium,
could
right?
create their own ballpark.
Yeah.
Everything was customizable, so you can create your own ballpark. One of the things we wanted to do was to create more environments that were more true to real parks, because instead of having all these people making extreme parks, we wanted to have more real environments. So I proposed, let's bring in the real parks and let's bring in those park factors into it, and people can pick from a menu of parks, whether they can unlock them, whether they can get them through missions, or get them through promotions. However it is they're distributed, let's do that. So at one point we brought them in. We started with, I believe, 114 parks. Now going into PT26, we're at 206, Dr. D.
Woo!
206 ballparks. That includes our Heinsohn Park, which is obviously honoring our founder, Marcus Heinsohn. So that will remain. That's our default park. That will remain named for him, even though he's no longer with the company. And then there's going to be your current your current major league parks,
Mhm.
minor league parks, your KBO parks, various historical parks from across the country, uh, and with a little bit of research and some digging and looking for some information and being on the phone with the Negro League Museum in Kansas City, we've got some Negro League parks in the
Wow.
mix as well. So we got it up to 206. They're going to be not all of them will be unlockable. There'll be some that will be only for tournament play, and those are the more extreme parks. We'll have some that are home run heavy or hitting heavy for right-handers and for left-handers as well. We'll have some that are pitching friendly. So it is going to be there are going to be so many different things that we can do, different levers I can pull for tournaments, but also some new places that folks can play with their league team. So there's a chance to really get some great experience in some different parks, and I'm looking forward to it because I really want to see how some folks handle, let's say, I don't know, a gigantic Rickwood field and its gigantic outfield.
Yeah, what dimensions? You probably haven't memorized. How deep to center field are we talking about?
So with Rickwood, the dimensions there have changed very often.
Mm.
Um, but the original format, this I had to get this in because this to me was just too good to be true. Center field, it's only 478 feet.
478. All right. But
So
wait, there's more.
yeah, I mean left center is still just 474. So
Is there a porch to be found in this ballpark?
if there's a porch, I don't know where. Maybe there's just a porch in the outfield randomly because it's so spacious. You could have a living room and a bathroom and a seating area out there
You could probably
because
fit
the
two
left.
ballparks in this place. And but
Oh,
but to your point, that adds yet another variable for these cards for these
right,
players to play in, right? Like
right,
home run
exactly.
hitters
Look,
may not be a thing.
down the line, left field line's 405 feet away. Right field line's 420. So it's big. Now that creates for a different approach when I'm putting a tournament together, right? And I'm saying, okay, let's take this tournament and let's put it in a more modern environment where it's stressing home runs, it's stressing strikeouts. How does a modern player adjust to such a large park? So there's different ways to look at it. I can, we can go back to dead ball, and it'll stress more contact. So there's some very interesting ways that stadium alone, but there's a bunch of others that have some really interesting dynamics. For example, the Atlantic City Bacharach Giants, their center field is 489 feet away. But
Just
then again,
11 shy of 500.
right, and their right field line is 270. So it's another strangely shaped park. I had to go and research a lot of this stuff, and I even ended up picking up a book that the Negro League Museum folks told me about, and that's this here, Green Cathedrals.
There it
So
is.
I went out and purchased this because it's from a few years ago, but it's got information on and photos and dimensions, so many different parks across the country through baseball history that I needed to like sit down and go through it and look at the dimensions and try to figure the park factors would play, throughout these stadiums. So I think it's going to create another wrinkle, a fun wrinkle to Perfect Team.
All right, there he is, everybody. Nico laying it down for us for Out of the Park 26. That pre-order link is in the description right now, 10% off. And not only that, you get some nice bonuses for your perfect team. A bonus gold pack, a bonus diamond pack, and a bonus choice pack, all for jumping in from day one beforehand with the pre-order. Get it in now. Nico, thank you so much. We can't wait for launch day, and thanks for joining us on this road to release.
Oh, thanks so much, Dr. D. Thanks for everything you do. And I really to get started as far as having everything go live. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, I always say, I know I've told you this so many times, I really do believe we have the best baseball game on the market. Nothing can do the things we can do as far as the base game. And with Perfect Team, there's such a great combination. If you're a baseball fan, this is the game for you. And I've been playing before I started working here. I was playing this game, and I was hooked off the bat, going back to the '80s and playing with the Mets and trying to make that more of a dynasty than a one World Series championship. Um, it's it really does do so many things. Like, the only limitation is your imagination, and it can do so much. Whether you want to create your own, fictional league, or just dive into history, or just go with current players and try to see if that hot prospect plays out. I love this game. I love working here. We have such a great team that I enjoy working with every day. I really hope that our passion shows in the game, and that the community can sees that and enjoys that, because at the end of the day, we just all want to have some fun here. And I hope people playing the game have as much fun as I do helping to create it.
Yeah. And Nico can't wait. We can't wait. But guess what? You don't have to wait. If you get that pre-order, launch day is March 14th. But if you get that pre-order in, you get it 3 days early. What are you waiting for?